Hi guys, it's Rachel with the Book Mavens, and I have a review for you today. Just one book, unlike the plethora that I reviewed last time I did a review video. And this one is M.A. Carrick's The Mask of Mirrors. So this is book one in the Rook and the Rose trilogy. The second book is The Liar's Knot, and then the third book releases in August, but I forget the title for it. But this is a really interesting book. So M.A. Carrick, it's actually two authors. This is just a smush together of their names. If you were somebody who really likes the idea of like Venetian, Renaissance-esque masquerade stuff, this is the book for you. Now, there's a lot of like complex political stuff going on, so it took me almost half the book to really understand like the terminology. So there are all of these different houses, and of course this one doesn't have a map. The second one does. I've started the second one, I just haven't finished yet to be able to talk about it with you too much. But so anyway, so you have like the really wealthy, and they live kind of like in the Pearls, this whole other area, the noble people, and then you have like kind of the rest of the city, and you have this whole culture war going on, and you have like different peoples, and they have different religions. Like the nobles believe in a power that's more like astrology based, like being able to read the cosmos and stuff, which is interesting. While this other class of people who were considered more lower class, they believe in what is essentially tarot cards, that being somebody who can read the patterns is what they call it, a patterner. And there's a special name for the ladies who do this service, which I forget, because the language is really rough, because you can clearly see that they're pulling from a variety of cultures. So you'll have heard me try to pronounce anything beyond basic standard boring English. It's just a disaster. But yeah, you have a lot of culture clashes going on, and control really over the city and what's happening with it. So our main character that we're following, her name's Ren, and she was a street rat. Her mother was a patterner, and she ends up dying, and she's left bereft without any family, and so she joins a knot. And knots are what's kind of these lower class. They exist almost like gangs, and you could be taken in as long as you swear an oath. And so she was part of this knot ran by this terrible lady. They were all children, so they were trained very, very young to be con artists and pickpockets, and that's essentially what she does. Now, she does form a bond with another girl named Tess, and she is a different race, and but they form a bond with this guy Sedge, and they're all children. They're children together, so it's like a sibling bond, which is deeper than having this knot. Anyway, so something happens, a tragedy happens, in which they are forced to sever the knot, and it's very dramatic how they do that, and they go away for several years. And so the whole thing is that Ren is looking to try and swindle a noble family, and have her kind of be adopted in, where she would be able to live this life of wealth. So they're pulling like a great con on this noble house, and then the inevitable happens, in which they find that this noble house isn't so bad, and Ren feels guilty, and some secrets come out. Not all of her secrets, but meanwhile all of this is going on while there are other shadier things happening. Children are disappearing and coming back lost, where they can't tell the difference between reality and like the dreamscape. And so you have a few people investigating this. So the other person that we're most concerned with is Gray Serrato, and he is a captain of the Hawks, and the Hawks act as like the police force, and it's thought they're incredibly corrupt, but he's a good one, and he's just trying to maintain balance. And he comes from the lower echelon of society, and the fact that he's been promoted to captain is quite remarkable. So he gets a lot of crap from, I guess, the lower gentry for being in this position of authority. So we have that going on. But meanwhile, there's this entire captivating figure of the Rook, and he's just running around. He's like a masked vigilante, and he's a lot of fun. I wish we got more scenes with the Rook, but his interactions with Ren are pretty funny. It's not romantic. I just want to... Now, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm only like maybe a quarter of the way through, and they're pretty chunky books of the second one, but it's not it's not romantic. There's nothing romantic in the first book. And but she's fascinated by it because the Rook has been around for a couple hundred years. And it's not that they're immortal. It's like different people take on the guise of the Rook. And there is some magical elements to the disguise. You can never see his face. He's hooded. So it's very cool. So he's investigating, trying to, I guess, figure out all of the corruption and whatnot. It's very complicated, and I'm not doing it very good. I'm not doing the plot much favors, I think, in my explanation, but it's very interesting. And there's another figure that's also very compelling, and his name is Vargo. And he is also somebody who has come from the slums, and he has built his way up to be ready to play with the merchants. He has been very, very good at manipulating all of these individual knots to swear allegiance to him. So he ends up with a lot of control over the lower areas of the city. And so we have these main players, and you also have, of course, the noble family that Ren is trying to swindle. And there's some memorable characters there. But it's also this just high society, and it's a reflection on this. And there's a lot of stuff going on. And I enjoyed it. I thought the writing was good. I did find it slightly tedious at times. It's just like the complexities became overly tedious. Like you didn't need quite so much. But it's still very enjoyable. I've been really enjoying it. I'm definitely going to continue. I'm enjoying the second one even more because stuff happens, and we know things now that we didn't know starting off, like who the Rook is, and I'm not going to tell you who. All right. And then we get a new vigilante character as well. So we have two of them, and it's interesting to see they're in the second book, in The Liar's Knot, they're trying to kind of like figure out a way to work together. They have some common goals, and that's been very interesting, as well as Ren trying to wear all of her masks. There's a lot of reference to masks and the hidden faces that people have, of course. And so I know it's very cool. It's a very cool world. Very Venetian inspired. You can definitely clearly see that from the setting. You have these boats and people paddle you around, and canals, and like there's a big kind of central storyline going on about trying to clean the canal water, which is a big project. Many people are trying to get off the ground, but it's very interesting. It's an interesting kind of mishmash of the astrology stuff with tarot cards and these two different divination methods. That's quite interesting, and I'm really enjoying it. So I do recommend that you pick it up. All right, The Mask of Mirrors. It's very cool, and let me know what you think. I will try and do another review when I finish The Liar's Knot to let you know how it's going. But with the third book not coming out till August, we're not going to have any really solid conclusion to this series for a while. But once again, let me know if you've read this, what you thought. If you read The Liar's Knot, please don't spoil it for me. I am really enjoying it. And if you have any other book recommendations that you think I should check out, and I look forward to seeing you next time.